secrets whispered on the digital waves. See the living history on the screen. Old melodies igniting the spark. Transported photos full of stories.
From London, the Eamonn Andrews Show. And tonight, Eamonn's guests are Catherine Whitehorn, Wolf Mankiewicz, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, George Harrison. And now, here's Eamonn Andrews.
Welcome. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is the Beatles.
You can sit here.
Can I? Yes. Well, thank you very much, boys. I am absolutely delighted. As you know, that we're going to be joined later on by Catherine Whitehorn and Wolf Mankiewicz to talk about what you or they or anyone else feels like talking about. But I can't begin this show without starting off and congratulating Ringo. Ringo, congratulations.
Congratulations.
The news. How does it feel to be an expectant dad?
Not so bad, you know. Not so bad. I hope it's a boy or a girl. What do you say? What's
an eye. Well, when it does come boy or girl, George, you may well go to John here for some advice.
George is having one. That's mine, too. That's me.
Yeah?
Nothing.
Two.
Okay.
Yeah. Will you be able to give him some good advice?
No.
No? Anyway, I know that you're working on your new film, and that means that you've less spare time than you ever had before, and I'm very delighted that you gave us some of your spare time tonight.
It's a pleasure, Colin.
Good man. Now, this is your second film.
Yes.
The first one, let's address this to you, Paul, so we have no confusion. The first one was compared to the Marx Brothers, do you remember?
Yes. Yes, well.
Have you ever seen the Marx Brothers?
Yes. Nothing like us.
Nothing like you, no.
We're nothing like them. No.
Well, what sort of thing, and this is addressed to all of you, let's say with you, what sort of thing makes you fellas laugh?
The Marx Brothers.
John, do you have any preference in humor when you go to the cinema?
I like to see Ringo.
You do?
Seems very good,
Yeah. Ringo, any preference in comedy, slapstick, or smart talk, or what?
Laurel and Hardy.
Slapstick.
Yeah.
George?
Well, just recently we've seen the last few Peter Sellers films. I like all that, you know. What you say?
Yeah.
You know, he's very good.
Peter Cook.
Yeah, he's
marvelous.
Remember him?
What good last week, Peter? There he is.
I like the other fella, Lionel Humpty, or whatever his name is. Lionel Humpty. I've got my shirts. A couple of plugs there. Kind of introduction.
You were watching the Lionel Standish show.
Yeah. Oh, that was it?
Yeah.
Kind of introduction to that. Let's do it again. Hey!
Which of you in the film, I know that you're playing yourselves, the Beatles, which of you is the best actor?
Me. Yeah.
Why are you the best actor, John?
Because Ringo said. I always say he's the best.
What
pays me?
Now, in these two films, in this one and the one you did before, you are playing yourselves, the Beatles. Do you have any thoughts of the future, in a separate way to be actors of other parts besides the parts of the Beatles? John?
No, couldn't do it.
We can't act.
They do so many cuts, it looks as though we're nearly acting, but we're not.
Paul's going
to play Kathy in that.
Wuthering Heights.
Yeah, Wuthering Heights.
That's right,
My
Paul's
big ambition.
Kathy.
No, but we're not good enough as actors, because they get, as John said, they get people around us in the film and just stick us in a little bit. Then there's a whole big pile of acting, and it looks as though we can act. We can't.
It's a good director.
Well, they say that
directors
are important, but don't you have any ambitions to be actors, Ringo?
I'd like to be an actor.
do you see yourself in any particular kind of part?
Any part.
You can handle them all.
No, it's good fun, you know.
It's quiet, isn't it?
Apart from all the terrible bits, it's great.
Got a light, I think.
Yes, I have. Well, even if you don't see yourselves as actors, boys, and everyone is interested in what you have to say and what you think about, how do you see the future? The long, distant future, like when you're 35 or 40? Through at last.
We were not
Darkly.
planned, and we're not planning now, still.
No, we're not planning.
Do you really mean that you don't
Really?
think about the future, John?
Yeah,
No, we don't think about it.
We play it
all
by ear.
That's what our press representative tells us. What do you say? We play it by ear. Do we? I do. I've got big ears. Listen to this.
But surely at least two of you, Ringo now and you, John, as married men, you must give some concern to the future.
Well, we do have a bit more responsibilities, Oh, we keep Paul and George in hand, Pull them on.
Now, how about this, Ringo? Do you think now, all right, what am I going to be in 10 or 15 years' time?
No, because I know,
Older.
The only thing I'll be in 10 years is old. And witherites.
I like it.
It's funny when someone said it before.
Well, your success, anyway, is obviously is assured. What do you think? You must get a great smile from all the psychologists and journalists and social thinkers who try and analyze the reason for your success. You must have written dozens of these.
It's rubbish,
Rubbish,
I think so.
We owe it all to our manager.
Pardon? No, they just, I don't think they know what they're talking about because they just try and analyse, and it's not that deep. They try and go into it. There's nothing there, really, isn't it?
Well, of course, there's a great deal there. Have you ever sat down yourselves and said, now, what apart from your musical ability, what is it that's made it such? Because you are, as you know, a phenomenon. What caused it? It's a big word, isn't it?
We don't know at all. We'd always ask, but we haven't a clue. No, I don't think anybody has.
What made you, Eamonn?
That's a good question. But I have a quote here from somebody who said, famous New York psychologist said the Beatles symbolically kill off the older generation. They show how neglected and misunderstood they believe themselves to be. What does that mean?
I don't know what he means. Ask him. It's a lot of rubbish, that. A lot of rubbish, New York psychologist.
I don't know what it means, but you symbolically kill off the older generation. What do you have any
It's not
feeling?
true, They think that we're sort of going around chopping everyone to bits and things, but we're not. All right, Dad.
What, Dad here?
Yeah, no, he's
He's at home.
He's at home. All right.
Yeah. It's all right, Dad. He's not going to kill off the older generation. Is that what you mean?
No, I'm not. No.
But there must be some answer that has occurred to you that has made this success, apart from the music, as I say, that you sing and play. Have you seen any single quote that you said, that's it, that must be why we did it?
Well, the way I look at it is... the way I see it, anyway.
George, do you think that they're all just looking for reasons that don't exist?
Well, nobody likes to think there isn't any real reason. But, I'm sure they're wrong because we've just done it the same way as everybody else. But we've just had a laugh and a smile and a laugh. Haven't we? And just played it by ear.
Yeah, but that's what...
Saying it again. I'm going to get a catchphrase.
But at what point did it begin to surprise you? When did you sit back and be amazed, or was it too gradual? Did it creep up on you?
I was amazed the day we got paid.
Well, I hope that continues for a long time. We're going to have a lot more talk in a few minutes from now. We're going to, as I say, meet Catherine Whitehorn, and we're going to meet Wolf Mankiewicz, and we're going to see the Beatles in action.
Oh, great.
Yes, we'll be hearing their latest two records in a couple of moments, so we'll see you then.
See you then.
Listening to the Beatles and talking to them earlier on, I began to wonder whether I agreed or not with a quote I made a note of here of Brian Epstein's description of the Beatles in his book, A Cellar Full of Noise. He said, one of them had the glamour, one the command, one the little man's quaintness, and one was the boy next door. Now, I've never met this lady next door here. What's your name?
Jackie.
Jackie, would you like to try and work it out for me, if you haven't read the book? Which is the one who has the glamour?
I would say Paul.
You'd say Paul. Everyone agree with that? John. George. Oh, disagreement. All right. Yes. And which one has the command?
I think John.
You would think John.
Yes.
I see. All right. One, the little man's quaintness.
Yes.
Ringo. And the boy next door. George. Well, the girls behind you got it wrong, but you got it right. You're absolutely right. That's the way it goes. I'm going to join the four of them again now. But we're also being joined by Observer columnist, delighted to welcome her back, Catherine Whitehorn. And as I told you earlier, also by writer Wolf Mankiewicz. Wolf, you're very welcome again.
He's been on before.
He has indeed, and I hope you'll be on again, too.
He won't if he carries on the way he's been carrying on tonight.
Get him, Wolf.
Terrifying giggle he's got tonight.
Get him, Wolf. Get him, Wolf.
Show us your pictures, Show us your pictures.
Only if you show me yours.
Anytime.
Catherine, in your column this morning, you were talking about a situation that will soon involve Ringo here, about what to say, the problem of getting an honest opinion about a new baby. You know, when someone says, here's the new baby, what do you say? Have you got any tips that can be offered, not necessarily to Ringo, but to his colleagues, what they say?
Well, I was just going to say, Ringo is the last person who has given honest opinion about the new baby. All I said was that if you don't know what to say about the kid, the uglier it is, the more pleased the parents are to say, it's just like you.
They all look the same to me. It's easier to have an old children.
To have a what, George?
An old children.
An old children?
Yes. An old child. Children.
Well,
your wife,
I don't get that.
no.
I don't get it, no.
It's very deep, doesn't it? I don't get that.
It's a deep remark. I know I have an American friend who has a surefire friend. Have you? Yep. When he sees a baby, when someone says, what do you think of the baby? All he does, he looks in the cot of the pram and he says, that's a baby.
Oh, but you want to watch that, because sometimes it goes wrong.
Right away, then.
There was one man who tried to play that one, and he looked at it and said, is that a baby? And someone got it wrong.
Sometimes it's a very young, unbooked up to you, isn't it?
Is it?
Unbooked, we don't know that term here. But, Wolf, you too, like Catherine, joined the ranks of the Sunday columnists today. And
Just as a visitor.
apart from what you said just now about John's giggle, I quote you, you said that although the Beatles, today you said this, make a cult of casualness, you added, I don't think the Beatles are at all modest. Would you care to repeat that now in front of them?
I don't think the Beatles are at all modest.
He's right. He spotted it, didn't he?
Oh, they was a bit modest.
I think that four highly, well, you know, much of their publicity points out their modesty, you know, which derives from their casualness, derives from their
If you believe that,
contempt with which they treat their audiences, essentially.
Do you think that they treat their audiences with contempt?
Oh, yes, they're so assured of the reaction of the audience that they...
You're joking. No, you're wrong there. We mightn't be modest, but for instance, the day we did a show, it's the first time we've done anything for months live. And we were petrified, because we've been making a film, you see, actually, it's on, you know, and we were petrified there, we always are, so we're not back to being modest.
But I mean, personal appearances don't actually hurt the sales of your records. I mean, your last record pre-subscribed 350,000.
That doesn't mean say it's going to jump in like everybody thinks. That means that dealers have ordered... Sorry about that, Paul. Dealers have ordered that many, but it doesn't mean say people are going to buy them. It's when they've ordered them and people come and buy them from them.
3 records ago, it was pre-subscribed 1 million.
I know, but that's only the dealers.
No, I don't mind.
But it's still only the dealers. It's not people putting their names down to buy records.
It's not symptomatic of a modest regard for audiences that artists appear on television in front of some 10 million possible buyers of records. I mean, I'm not knocking you, I'm just being realistic.
No, but just you switch the subject was in a way.
I mean, they do it for the money just like anybody else, and it might be you or me.
Right, Mrs.
I'm not...
Mrs. Right owns right.
But you were saying that that you're mixing, or deliberately, no doubt, mixing modesty with assurance in front of an audience. I don't believe that, as John has said, that even the Beatles, with all their experience, will ever go out in front of an audience and be assured that they've got a good audience.
Every time every time we release a record, we really are terrified that it's not going to make it. Honest.
Well, why is that, do you think?
Because
with the size of the machine,
people expect
the
it.
machine that you now have massed behind you. Why do you have to be nervous?
Well, it's worse for us than other people, because we've got to keep up doing what we've done before. If we don't do it as well, people will knock you, even though you're doing better than anybody else, and you're doing it not as well as you did before. You're in trouble.
But now you're a serious incursion into the film business. Your last film grossed very big money.
Yeah, that doesn't mean to say that our next film is going to be the biggest flop out. You know, could be.
No.
You can't pre-subscribe things like films or the goodness of records.
Yeah, there is a certain algebra to these things. I mean, it's known, for example, that though James Bond films will eventually, algebra, you remember what that is? Though James Bond films will eventually drop off, they will build an accumulative business based upon the business they did before. Similarly, the next Beatles film must do something very near to the business of the last Beatles.
You weren't saying that before. You were saying that the thing about the pre-subscribed thing is that it doesn't matter whether it's good or bad, but it does, you see. It really does, you know. Because if the word gets round that this next film's a bad film, however pre-subscribed it is, it'll be a flop, you know. And the third one will really finish with.
Even if the third one's very good, the second one will
you
make
can't do bad things, you know. I mean, maybe
I think that the Beatles are in the situation of to use a metaphor I'm used to, a boxer who has never been beaten. Each fight gets tougher because he hasn't had a defeat.
Right, it's full.
So for that reason, you need to have a genuine modesty towards the audience. That's what we're arguing.
Yeah, the modesty is...
You're frightened of the audience.
Yeah, well, it's sort of as opposed to conceit, really. You can't be conceited and still worry that every time you go on, the people aren't going to like it.
I think you can. Can you? I think you can be conceited, you can still worry. I've met lots of conceited people who are worried before they go on. I don't think the two things connect at all, either. You can be conceited and worried.
You can't be fully conceited and worried. If you're totally conceited, you just don't worry.
Oh, I don't know. What about Alfred Lunt when they...
Who's that? What about him?
You might have heard of him. He was a century and a half before your time, maybe. But there's a story that he and his wife, Lynn Fontanne, and he was saying, how was I in the evening's performance? And she said, you were just fine, you were marvellous. I was absolutely terrible. You did look a little tired, but you were just a terrific actor. But I was ghastly, I was appalling, I don't know how I got through it. And when she finished deep rating herself, he said, I was a little tired, was I?
Well, Wolf there a moment ago mentioned the algebra of the box office, which you picked up straight away.
He mentioned that.
He did.
Education.
That's it. Before I go any further, I'm just going to quote from Brian's book here, which I did already. Keep it full of noise. And he describes you as 4 young men in their early 20s who left school before they should, who can neither read music nor write it, who care not a fig or a damn or a button for anyone, save a tight, close-guarded clique of less than a dozen.
He's 24 now. We've met some more people.
Is that basically still true, the last part of it?
Well, it's true with most people, isn't it? That you've got your circle of friends, you know. It's not true that we don't care down about anyone. We care more particularly for our circle of friends, I think. it's true about anyone. Really, isn't it?
Well, what?
Rather slipped up, Eamonn.
No, I was...
Thanks, John. Thank you, Johnny.
No, I was fascinated to read this. It's gone up to 24, John says. Who are the 24? What sort of people are they that you have time for because you haven't much family lives anyway? What sort of people are your friends? Who is this clique?
Oh, yes. I can't think of any.
People like us in the same business as us. People with the same interests, really. Because we don't get a chance to talk about other things. You know, we talk shop a lot of the time. Like the Stones, we're always chatting to them about records.